Get the fuck out there and start approaching.
Like if you're a man right now and you're seeing girls passing by every day and you want to approach them but you don't, every time you do that, there's a little drop of your self-esteem that goes down and you know it.
But I realized that I was actually bringing more to her life than she'd be bringing to my life.
If you have the ability to seduce women and persuade them and make them attracted to you and invested, well, you're also going to have the ability to seduce other men as well.
So Limo, what have you found to be the biggest, most important mindset shift that you think entrepreneurs need to make to succeed in their dating life while they're running their business and handling, putting out fires left and right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I worked with a lot of entrepreneurs over the years. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. And oftentimes us entrepreneurs, we're very busy with different things. And we think that we don't have the time to fully enjoy other aspects of our lives, like our dating, our fitness, etc. But truthfully, if we truly optimize our time and our calendars, we'll find a ton of time to do all these things as well. It's just a matter of perception and proper planning. Now, when it comes to the mindset shifts, well, you can be in different paradigms, right? You can be in the being paradigm, you can be in the having paradigm, and you can be in the doing paradigm. Now, let's start with the doing paradigm. The doing paradigm is the paradigm where you think that you need to always do stuff and always be doing things to be successful. Now, that's true in some way. But if you stay stuck on that paradigm, then you're always in the doing, but you're never truly enjoying the journey. Now, you can also be in the having paradigm, which is another paradigm where, I have to get to XYZ amount of money to enjoy this. I have to hit a certain milestone to allow myself to enjoy XYZ experience in life. And that's the having paradigm. And then you can have the being paradigm. So the being paradigm is, I'm already enough. My life is already great. I want to enjoy the true being, my true essence. I want to be in the being instead of just in the doing. And I just want to enjoy who I am and my life. And in that paradigm, you're going to be a lot more inclined to fully enjoy the other aspects of life rather than going monk mode and hustling all the time without working on the other things, right?
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of these, a lot of entrepreneurial types are very sort of type A personalities. They want to win, they want to hustle, but it kind of gets twisted sometimes into this sort of masochistic need to constantly be chasing the next thing. And it's great. Like as a man, I mean, because obviously we're speaking about men, obviously there are female entrepreneurs, but as a man, you want to be constantly leveling up and pushing yourself to sort of fight. It's in us to fight. And business is sort of the modern day modern day battle. You know what I mean? It's the modern day warfare. It's the more civilized version. Of course, we have real wars, but it's the more civilized version of warfare. Because most people in ancient cultures and throughout history were basically just like at war all the time, right? Trying to get resources and so on. So it's in us to go acquire resources. But again, we don't live in this world that's so brutal that you need to constantly be sort of in a way hurting yourself, because you are hurting yourself. It's masochistic. If you want to go out and meet women, you want to go out and enjoy your dating life, enjoy that money that you've worked so hard to make, then you're basically just hurting yourself. You're torturing yourself. It's like you said, there are 168 hours in a week. And you talked about this amazingly on the call the other day. And it was like, let's say you sleep for 56 hours. That's 8 hours a day. Let's say you work, most entrepreneurs work more than 40 hours. But let's say even you work 60 hours, you're hardworking, right? So, 56 plus 60 is 116. There's still many, many hours. There's still 52 hours left over. And in that 52 hours, can you spend 1 or 2 hours approaching women, another 1 or 2 hours going on dates and spending time being intimate with women or whatever level of intimacy you want to have with them? It's perfectly reasonable to do that. And most people, especially if you're smart and you automate things, like that's one huge thing I've learned from you, Limo, is how to automate things, how to set things up so they're working for you. You're creating assets that are working for you, including investing in labor, investing in technology, all sorts of AI tools, and so on. And so that you can be living a much more abundant life and actually be benefiting from those hours and that difficult work that you're putting in. So it's actually paying off rather than constantly having to be sinking all these hours into your business that are sort of falling right through and going nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't come up with all that. I mean, I've learned from also a ton of other people about this. And definitely the same way you would free up time in your business and focus on the most important activities and delegate the rest. Well, same thing in your dating life. There's a few activities that truly, truly move the needle. And a lot of guys, I think, overestimate the amount of time that it takes. It doesn't take too much time to get dates, guys. Once you know the right practices, you have the right system, getting dates is honestly a piece of cake. It's just like, it's honestly easy. Like, it's like going to the gym. You have a training program that you know by heart, and you just go out there and you follow the program, and you then get a great working out session. Like you just have a great workout. So it's kind of the same thing. When I go out, when I go to a nightclub, when I go out, or when I approach women, when I'm on Instagram DMing all these girls, I already have a set of practices that I apply, and for me it's just a routine. Then it's just I'm expecting results, and it doesn't take more than 4 or 5 hours a week most of the time. I mean, it depends the scale of results you want to have. But if you're a normal guy and you want to get like 1, 2, 3 dates a week, then honestly, you can do that with less than 2-3 hours a week of actual quote unquote work. Now, dating, one of the mindset shifts that also entrepreneurs need to make is that dating is not just about getting laid and leisure and all of that. Dating is actually one of the most powerful gateways to improve your communication and your social skills as a man in general, even for business. Like, that's the shift I made myself. Before, I was thinking of dating like a way to just have fun and get laid, etc., which is true. I have a lot of fun. But I also use my dating life as a way to improve my communication skills, my persuasion skills, my ability to negotiate, my ability to control my state. Like, state control is something that you can 100% learn through dating. And this is something that's going to help you in business, in life, anywhere. So one of the biggest mindset shifts that you need to make is that working on your dating life equals working on your life and your business as well. Because these aspects are they're so related. I mean, it's very, very similar in many, many ways. So that's one of the mindset shifts as well. What would you add, Chris?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I've learned 80% of my communication skills from dating. And so many people underestimate this skill, and so many underestimate the evolutionary pressure that going out and meeting women puts you under to force you to reach the next level in your communication skills. I mean, it's incredible. Most of the people that I know that are really, really good at dating are almost automatically just good at sales. They're almost automatically, like, they've got like 80% of sales skills, and then the last like 10 or 20% they can get from doing much more intensive courses, getting mentors, reading books, and hardcore training. But 80% of it is already there just from the dating skills. The same is true for marketing, same is true for public speaking, the same is true for business communication. It's actually incredible how this will revolutionize your life.
The first thing I want to say is that if you have the ability to seduce women and persuade them and make them attracted to you and invested, well, you're also going to have the ability to seduce other men as well. And focusing on success only, purely like just chasing money to attract women, is a trap. If you're neglecting your social skills, because women aren't just attracted to your achievements, they're drawn to how you make them feel in the moment. I'm going to repeat that. Women aren't just attracted to your achievements, they're drawn to how you make them feel in the moment. That's why if you're a guy who works all the time, but you don't have the time to take care of your girlfriend, or you don't have the time to see any girl, then these women, even though you're successful, will go with other guys that are more stimulating in the moment. You'll see a lot of time a wife cheating on her billionaire boyfriend or multimillionaire boyfriend with the gardener, because the gardener is more fun, more sexy in the moment, or the fitness trainer, right? You've seen that. So yeah, just don't focus just on success, or you're just going to be a chump who's going to be deceived by women very easily.
This is the thing is, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, because a lot of people, especially like with this all red pill BS nowadays, a lot of guys think that women only go for a guy who's rich and tall and this and that and has all these accolades on paper. Now, I think it's amazing to get that. You know, like you and I both went to university. I love chasing success. I'm always thinking about, how do I get my money up? How do I become a better businessman? How do I become better in this and that skill, better educated, so on and so forth. But you have to still, in this area, all of that is secondary to being the guy that she would sleep under a bridge with, because women can be extremely, extremely loyal, but they're only loyal to you if you can stimulate their emotions and you can connect to them in that way. So you want to be the guy she would sleep under a bridge with, but you're also a millionaire, right? Because if she's only with you because you're a millionaire, as soon as that goes down, as soon as the market's down, as soon as there's chaos in your business, then she's going to leave you, because you're fundamentally just a chump with money. You want to be the guy who is the person who she could be in love with, who could be the love of her life, and she would sleep under a bridge with, but you also have the cash. You also have the accolades. You also have the travel and the lifestyle and everything else. That's what it's all about. So you want to focus on the thing that's going to make you that object of extreme desire and that person that she can really, really fall in love with and fall into the frame of, so that, you know it's real, it's solid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So given the fact that the guys listening are busy, ambitious guys, and they highly value their time, how can busy men optimize that limited time that they have outside of their business and sleep and gym and stuff to meet quality women consistently?
Yeah, so there's many, many ways. And one of the most important ways is you need to craft some sort of funnel, because women, I mean, they're not going to knock at your door. So you're going to have to kind of funnel them into your life or some way or another, either through cold approach or from online systems or from social circle. You're going to have to find a way to funnel women into your life. Now, the thing is, a lot of guys are busy, so they're not going to spend all their day approaching women or texting women, etc. So you need to really figure out a schedule that you can stick to be able to meet women consistently without sacrificing your business. Now, one thing I do personally as a business owner, for example, is I work out. I love working out. I've been working out for almost 9 years now, since end of high school. And it's truly a habit that have paid off 1,000 times, 1,000%. Like it's one of the best habits that I could have put in place in my life. Like I'm very happy. I'm that type of guy who works out. And fortunately for us guys who work out, there's a lot of attractive women at the gym. So I try to approach women anytime I'm there. If I see a beautiful girl, I approach there. And that's what I call engineering serendipity in your life, in your day-to-day life. Basically, there are situations that you're gonna stumble upon in your day-to-day life that are gonna ask you to approach. Basically, like there's a lot of situations, if you're honest with yourself, where you could approach. Like you're at the grocery store, you're in the street, you're just out for an errand, you're at the gym, and you know that there's an attractive girl there. You see her, she's attractive, and you have the time because you're there. You're there outside of work. Like you're at the gym outside of work. You're running for an errand outside of work. So you know you have the time, but you're still not doing it. So I think by having entrepreneurs optimize that, like allowing them to be able to seize opportunities when it comes to them, whether at the gym, whether in the street, whether at the grocery store, etc. That's one way to really start moving the needle without wasting any time, because you're out anyway. You're going to the grocery store anyway. So just do the fucking approach. And a lot of guys, they're stuck in their heads. They work all day on their desks, etc. And when they come back to real life, they have trouble having a fucking conversation. And that's the real problem, is that if you were honest with yourself and you would approach every girl you saw outside of work, then you would probably have a very good dating life. But even when you're outside of work, you're not even approaching. And so that's the main thing. So optimize your day-to-day, on a day-to-day basis, try to engineer your own luck as well. What I recommend my clients sometimes is to schedule a time with themselves during the week. Maybe you schedule an hour or two with yourself, just to have a walk, grab a coffee, and talk to attractive people. Talk to women. If you see a woman that's attractive, talk to her. And just schedule a time with yourself to just do that for yourself. And then obviously online, you can take maybe half an hour a day or 1 hour every 2-3 days to just DM a few girls, text a few women, etc. And just take the time to do that. And then same thing. If you can go out once a week to a nightclub, to a bar, and just let loose and have fun, well, that's going to help you recharge, and it's going to help you improve your social skills, and it's going to energize you so that next time when you come back to work, you're energized. You've been just letting go, and you can come back to business with kind of this refreshed spirit where, like, okay, you've been going out, you've been having fun, now it's time to go back to work. But if it's only work, no fun, nothing, no socialization, then I think it's going to affect also your productivity at sometimes. There's diminishing returns to productivity. So definitely those are some of the things. But there's so many ways to optimize, and this is what we cover in our programs, obviously. But these are just some of the points. But yeah, Chris, go ahead. I know you want to add a few things there.
Well, I don't want to add anything specifically because I think you really, really covered it. And again, if anyone is interested in learning more about that, then go below, go to the description, go to the pinned comment, and apply for a call with one of us or a member of our team. But it reminds me of a story of one of our clients, and you know who this is because we've told him to schedule this time in. And this guy is so busy, so frenetic, so just go. Such an intense entrepreneur, and he's killing it. But I mean, even when he speaks, he's always speaking so quickly. You can tell his mind is always racing. There's always a million things on his mind. And it was really tough for us to motivate this guy to actually spend time talking to girls and going out and meeting girls, even though I think he's might be in his early 30s at this point, at least in his 30s. And he wants kids one day and so on. But he finds it hard to see getting an ROI on this activity. But I remember when Limo, you finally broke through to convincing him to actually schedule some time to go out and socialize and so on, because he's such a smart guy and he's a hardworking guy and he applied the systems. I mean, I remember he ended up having an experience with 2 girls at the same time. Yeah. I remember. And we were like, man, we had to ask him. We had to ask him because he wasn't even coming straight out with it. But I thought that was hilarious because, it just goes to show that when you are proactive about this and you have the right systems and strategies and you're a hardworking, ambitious guy who's used to winning, then, you can win in this area just like you're winning in your career, just like you're probably winning in the gym, and just like you're winning in maybe your education and other areas.
Yeah, and that guy, he got very lucky because basically he got a date from Instagram. So we showed him our full Instagram system to get dates through Instagram. And he got a date with a very attractive girl. But that girl, she wanted to bring a friend of hers. And so she asked him if she could, and he said yes. And so basically, he went on the date. He dated her and her friend, both basically. So him with 2 girls. And they had a nice date, etc. And then they went back for, quote unquote, some sort of after party at his place. and then they had an incredible time, and it ended up it ended up as a threesome, so it was pretty crazy. But yeah, it goes to show that,
and he deserves it too. I was so happy
Yeah.
for him. I'm like, man, you deserve it. You deserve to relax a little bit and have some fun, right? You're always so
Yeah.
stressed out and rushing around.
Yeah. For you, man, Chris, like, what's a common dating mistake that successful men make usually, and how do you advise fixing it?
So the first one is, like you said, is not making the time to do this. But I think the second thing is, again, messing up with that having, doing, and being paradigm. So they're not sitting in the being paradigm ever, because they're always chasing that next thing. And this goes very, very deep. I mean, it can go into issues of self-worth and so on. And it's amazing that you have this situation where you're pushing yourself and you're constantly getting better and you're chasing and dominating and conquering in your field. But there's an aspect of it where you're actually kind of betraying yourself fundamentally. So women, okay, I've said this quote to you before, and I'm going to revisit it. Women don't want the perfect man. They want the man who is perfectly fine with himself, right? So
Yeah.
if you only can be fine with yourself, if your business did like $1 million revenue this quarter or $1 million profit this quarter, whatever it is, some kind of metric, external metric, then you're again, like I said, you're betraying yourself. You're not okay with yourself when you're not in that situation. There are a number of reasons why you might not have made that. I mean, it could have been the economy, it could have been that there were ups and downs in that industry, could have been internal conflict in your company or something, could have been a family issue, there could have been death in the family, and that might have affected things, and so on. There are so many external, it might be a weather event. There's so many external factors that determine whether or not you have some kind of external result. But you can never allow that to make you sort of betray yourself again, and not kind of not give yourself that love and not give yourself that acceptance, because women are looking for that. Because if you don't have that self-love and that self-acceptance, they see you as someone who is less than. You're always thinking of yourself as less than someone who truly accepts themselves. So yes, go get the money, go get the success. I mean, if you're an athlete or a musician, or a professional of some kind, an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you're ambitious, go get that success, but be detached from the outcome. This goes into spirituality, but it really comes down to doing the work, so to speak. So this is why we cover the different aspects. We cover health, wealth, love and relationships, and dating, and spirituality or higher purpose or happiness. So it's about having a balance of all of these. If you're over optimized for health and you just have this like perfect physical health, but you're completely broke and you have no relationships, then kind of what's the point? I'm not saying to sacrifice your health. You can still be very, very healthy, but sometimes you might need to cut in your sleep a little bit. Sometimes you might, like for your children, or in this case, most of our clients don't have children. Some do. Staying up maybe a bit later some nights to go on a date and enjoy your social life. So that's another mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make. And it's just because of the type A personality and the type of person that goes into entrepreneurship, or not just entrepreneurship, but professionals and athletes and so on, are ambitious clients. But one last thing I'll say about that is Alex Hormozi has, I always quote Alex Hormozi in my calls and videos, but I mean, he has a lot of great quotes. So one of the things that Alex Hormozi says is the type of person who's super successful usually has 3 traits. So 1, they have this weird sense of superiority. They think they're better than other people. But also 2, they feel like they'll never be enough fundamentally. So it's this weird like polarity of a massive ego and a wounded ego. And that drives them to success. And the 3rd trait, by the way, is focus, to be able to channel all of that. But the first 2 are the point that I wanted to make, right? So do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I mean, I wanted to talk about regret because I see so many of my clients that told me that they regret not taking their dating life seriously a few years back because now they're at 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60. And because they didn't take their dating life seriously, now they wake up years later wishing that they'd have put the work before so that they could have enjoyed their dating life much younger. Because your dating life is at its funniest, or at its not funniest, but at its peak, let's say, in your late 20s, 30s, maybe 40s. But then, yeah, then with age, it's a bit more difficult, So really, if you're in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, then I mean, if you're not where you want to be dating wise, you need to take it seriously. Otherwise, your life is just gonna pass by and you're gonna be living with regret, and it's your life. You only have one life, so you have to be in the business of regret minimization, right? Be in the regret minimization business. That way, you live your life in a way that's truly aligned with who you want to be. And Gandhi, he said this, happiness is when your thoughts, words, and actions are in alignment. So if you say to yourself that you want to date all these beautiful girls, if you say to yourself that you want to be full stack and you want to make money and have all these girls chase you and have an amazing girlfriend, etc., but you're not acting towards it, you're not putting the right actions in place, then you're not living in congruence with where you want to be. You're choosing to not face your dating problems, and instead you're retreating and procrastinating by justifying that you need to work more, or that you need to just have a better physique or more looks or whatever.
And I think one of the reasons that a lot of guys don't get into this earlier is because, frankly, they're just afraid of rejection. And this one little fear of this thing that you and I really know that doesn't matter, and our clients that come on boot camps and so on, by the end of the weekend, they know the rejection doesn't matter. They know that it isn't important, but people will waste years of their lives and accumulate all of this regret just because of this one little thing. And it's much easier for them to work a 16-hour day and brutalize themselves at work and maybe even go to the gym and hustle in the gym and have a great physique, but they still just won't approach. They'll always put it off. They always need to make another 100K. They always need another 5 or 10 pounds on their bench press. So how do guys, especially the clients that we work with, how do they most effectively deal with rejection and maintain their confidence while approaching and while seriously pursuing this, especially if they've put it off for a long time or they just kind of suck to begin with?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think they have to realize, number one, that very few guys actually approach. So by them approaching a woman, they're already setting themselves apart from 99% of guys, and they need to give props to themselves to that. Regardless of the outcome of the approach, every approach is amazing. Every approach, as one of my mentors used to say, is 100 out of 10. It's a thousands out of 10. And the reason why we exaggerate that is because it's already amazing, because you can't control the outcome of the approach. You can only control the action of doing it. And for me, rejection is just redirection. If I get rejected, that's fine. Awesome. I'm happy I found out sooner rather than later. And now let me focus on another girl. And that's fine. It's just redirection. So for me, rejection is great. Actually, the sooner I am rejected, the happier I am, because I'm not wasting any more time on that specific approach, and I'm redirecting my time to another girl. And every approach is fun, whether I get the girl or not, because I've proved to myself that I'm a doer. I'm a guy who does things. I'm not just a guy who is a spectator, who just waits for things to happen, or who just lets life fly by without taking any action. I'm an action taker, and I take pride in that. So because of that, I'm happy when I approach regardless of the outcome, because I take pride in the fact that I'm an action taker regardless, and that 99% of guys won't even do it. So Rejection is a badge of honor that any man should wear with pride, because that's a sign that you're an action taker and that you're just, you're just doing what you got to do. So it's great. I love rejection. I think it's a great thing. And the more you love yourself, the less you take rejection personally, because it's not really, they're not truly rejecting you. They're rejecting maybe the energy you've been conveying while you were approaching, or maybe they're rejecting their first impression of you, or maybe they're also rejecting themselves because they're not ready to meet a guy like yourself. They're not letting it land. A lot of girls are in a dark reality maybe when they met you. And so because of that, they're not letting it land. They're not spiritually open to having those type of experiences yet. Or maybe in that moment, it's a lack of fitment. Maybe they're in a bad mood, or maybe who else knows? Maybe someone died or whatever. You don't know, right? So you can't really control that. What would you say?
That one you just said hits so hard, because it actually took me a few years to even be open to something like that. When a lot of guys get into this, they come from a fundamentally flawed paradigm. I mean, that's the point. If your paradigm was optimized, then you'd be crushing it. But if you're coming at this from a darker place or from a place of scarcity, then you're thinking that like the women are above you, that you have to always be doing something to be able to deserve to speak to them, to spend time with them, to date them, and to sleep with them and be in a relationship with them. Once I started going out and I started getting amazing results, I was getting in amazing states, my social skills were killer, and I'm also more and more becoming this great guy that I'm proud to be, and that many, many quality women would be proud to be with and happy to be with and be better for being with. I would go out sometimes and I'd meet a girl who was otherwise beautiful and that many men would put on a pedestal and put above them. But I realized that I was actually bringing more to her life than she'd be bringing to my life. In fact, she might even be a net negative to my life, no matter how beautiful she is. I've had many women that are very beautiful that are definitely a fucking net negative to my life, man.
Yeah.
They can tear out your soul. They can ruin your life. They can ruin your income, ruin your confidence, ruin your social network. The list goes on. The list goes on. They really can ruin your life. The wrong woman can trash your life. And I've been there. But sometimes I go out and my friend and I, who's also a high quality guy, would be meeting girls. And sometimes I'd see that they had a success barrier. They were rejecting themselves with us. And that's not me being arrogant, thinking, oh, every girl wants me. I'm not delusional in that sense. Although when I'm out, I kind of am delusional like that. But like, if I'm being realistic, of course, not every girl on earth wants me. I've been rejected many, many, many times. But, and I'm just not a right fit for most women. But the women that I am a fit for, I'm great with. But there are women that actually might otherwise be a good fit with me and they would benefit massively. But they, like you said, they're in a dark reality. They couldn't accept that light, something that bright. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying I'm like some angel from heaven, but I really would benefit this person's life. Women that spend time around me, they usually become more developed spiritually. They certainly become more educated. They probably become more calm, and I help them work through. I'm not saying I'm doing like long therapy sessions, but I might encourage them to work through some trauma and so on. And I'll encourage them in their career and whatever else they're doing, whatever it is, right? They're going to benefit from being around me. So yeah, oftentimes girls just don't resonate with that. And it's unfortunate because it could have been beneficial to their lives. I've actually had it where girls can't even accept being in a happy relationship with you. You might have treated them. There's like a whole joke right now on the internet of like a girl saying, oh, you've treated me better. You've treated me better than any other guy. And then the guy's like, damn, it's just a matter of time before I get cheated on or something. Because a girl that says that has been historically hooked on guys that treat her poorly. And when you actually treat her well, she'll treat you like shit. It's awful. Yeah. It's fucking awful. And I'd much rather be with a girl who actually I can treat well and is grateful that I treat her well and is appreciative of that and accepts it and rewards it. I'm not going to be with some girl who's basically a drug addict to misery and depression and self-destruction, and like treat her well, and then she just treats me even poorly. I'm not here to save people. I'm not here to save people, but I'll help someone that wants to help themselves.
Yeah. It's like that song from Kid Cudi. She don't want to be saved, don't save her. She don't want to be saved, don't save her. You know this one? But
100%, yeah. That's exactly it.
But yeah, you can't save all these girls. A lot of girls are addicted to this dark reality, are addicted to their traumas, are addicted to their own paradigms. And if you try to show them the light, or you try to show them better ways and better days, they're going to subconsciously reject that. And they're going to be addicted to guys who are toxic, who are mistreating them. And that's it. You can't do anything for them. A lot of women have baggage. A lot of women are, spiritually dead, even if they're super hot. And you definitely need to be aware of that. And that's why effective communication at the end of the day is just about filtering the wrong people, like delighting the right people and alienating the wrong people. That's what effective communication is. You delight the right people and you alienate the wrong people, and you filter them very quickly. So myself, when I get rejected, I'm happy, because that means I'm quickly alienating the wrong women, and I'm quickly getting into getting with the right women, basically. So that's what it is. So rejection is nice. I love rejection. Rejection is your friend. It's not your enemy.
100%, bro. So I'm interested. Can you share a pivotal moment in your dating life that really transformed your approach, or was like a real paradigm shattering, changing moment that made you into the man you are today as far as dating and your approach goes?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's many of these moments, I would say. One of the most important moments was the breakup I had in high school, because, in high school, you're still kind of a teenager. You don't really know what to do. I mean, unless you have like crazy role models and you've been hanging out with playboys all your life, then, if you're in high school, you don't really know kind of what to do with women. You're kind of relying on luck, going with the flow, etc. And myself, I didn't really have a lot of experience. So my first exclusive relationship in high school, I fucked it up because of that. I was stressed out. I didn't know what to do. I was in my head. And then the girl just lost interest and went for a guy that was more attractive to her. And that really gave me the motivation to really level up and work on this. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I think it was also, in college, in university, all the times that I saw girls in the same class or in college that I wanted to talk to, and that I just couldn't, because I was so in my head, I was so anxious to do it. And that really gave me this rage to learn this, because I really wanted to break through this ceiling that I've created for myself. This glass ceiling of like, I couldn't really express myself the way I wanted, and I couldn't really go up and actually express my intentions. And that really gave me the motivation to pursue this and really make it almost my life's work, to really, nail that whole process and understand the mindset behind it, the paradigm shifts that I needed to go through, the technicalities as well of it. Like, how do you actually approach? How do you make an approach successful? How do you actually make sure that everything goes smoothly? And all the technicalities of it. But that really made me passionate about all these aspects. But also sometimes seeing other guys who were less good looking than me, who were less educated than me, who were maybe less attractive, getting the girls I wanted. Like, I've seen a lot of times girls that I truly, truly wanted getting back home and getting fucked by guys that I knew weren't the right guys for them. And that pissed me off in the past as well, because I wanted to be that guy. And I didn't understand why they went for that guy instead of me. Because in my head, I was doing everything perfectly, but apparently not. and so they went with other guys. And so yeah, it's like a culmination of all these experiences, you know, harsh breakups, day-to-day situations that repeat themselves. Like you know, it sucks to not be able to approach girls you see on a day-to-day basis. It really sucks. Like if you're a man right now and you're seeing girls passing by every day and you want to approach them but you don't, every time you do that, there's a little drop of your self-esteem that goes down, and you know it. And I've had this so many times. And then you regret. And then because you're not dating any girl, then you get horny, and because you're not getting laid, then you have to go to some porn site. And then because you go and watch porn,
or prostitutes.
Or prostitutes, and then you have this feeling of guilt afterwards and this feeling of shame that kind of reinforces this whole cycle, because it fucks up your confidence and you end up not approaching even more. And so yeah, I mean, this whole cycle sucks, and I've been there. Not prostitutes, I mean, I hooked up with a prostitute once when I was in high school. That was the only time I hooked up with a prostitute.
I know the story.
That's the only time I hooked up with a prostitute. It's like with my friends in high school, we chose to just get a prostitute. I'm not going to tell the whole story. But that was the only time. The rest, I mean, yeah, I'm guilty of jerking off to porn. Okay, I mean, that's fine. I think every guy once in their lives jerked off to porn. That's fine. I'm actually not against. I mean, I'm against, but it's not like I'm a hardcore, like, oh, you shouldn't jerk off to porn ever. I mean, if you don't get laid for 2-3 weeks, it's okay if you jerk off maybe once, you know. It's fine. It's not going to ruin your whole life if you jerk off, let's say, once a month, okay, or once every 2 weeks. But when it's a daily habit, or when you do that, like when you do that out of an escape, and you can't get any girls, then that's really where the problem is. So biologically, masturbation is almost like a biological need. Like since it's been centuries that guys have been jerking off. It's a biological need. Now the problem is when you do that consistently as a way to escape the fact that your dating life sucks, and if you don't take any action in your dating life and you rely just on fulfilling your own sexual needs by yourself with your right hand or left hand, I don't know which hand you use, then yeah, that sucks. So what about you, Chris? I'm curious, like, what are some of the experiences you've had in the past with women, negative experiences most likely, that have compelled you to really master this, learn the game, and that have really motivated you to master this and teach this now?
So I've had a number of breakups. I mean, it's usually a big breakup that is the catalyst for this kind of thing. And I've had it depends how you frame it, but I sort of had like 3 to 5 major breakups over the space of about 10 years that really, really affected me and really, really pushed me in this direction to the point where it's an inevitability. But the big one was when I was 23. And man, I thought at this point I was over it. I'd already been watching dating content at this point. I'd had success going out, but I'd never really taken it that seriously. I'd had some success with Cold Approach and Social Circle. I wasn't the most popular kid in high school, but I was decently popular. I was friends with pretty much everyone. And I had cute girlfriends, pretty girlfriends throughout high school. And man, I thought I was over this. And I was with this girl, let's call her Jessica. And I met her here in Montreal. And we were friends for a time, but we eventually were developing feelings for each other. And then I sort of, successfully got out of the friend zone. And I wasn't friend zoned. It was just, we were friends, and I ended up just changing the relationship. But we dated for a time, and man, I really cared about this girl. She was so smart, so beautiful. She was way more popular than me. She spoke more languages than me. She was just so educated, so insightful, so like powerful in a way. She came from this very rich family, very educated family. And she was just, I don't know, we just had this crazy match between us. Like we were just so connected in certain ways. But man, this girl had some demons, and she really had some damage, and she really had some trauma in her soul. And it was very unfortunate, but she was someone that was addicted to the darkness and addicted to the misery. And I couldn't understand it from an outside perspective. I saw her with these other guys, for the couple years that we were friends before that. And I was wondering, I was like, why do you enjoy fighting with these guys and so on? And remember, we were dating, we were together, and I treated her so well. I tried to treat her so well, and she just didn't respond to that. And then I started experimenting. I'm like, what if I just kick up a bit of drama? And I'd never done this in my life before that. And I was like, okay, so I know the girls like drama. This girl probably likes drama. Let's try it. So I just started injecting these little bits of drama into the relationship, and she loved it. And I hated that she loved it. And I remember she would only respond to that, and I just felt so exhausted all the time. And at one point, I just couldn't do it anymore, and it fell apart. And I just wanted to chase her so bad. And there were this sort of, it wasn't a clean breakup. It was sort of like off and on still for a little while. And I just remember feeling like I just lost my confidence. Like I just lost so much confidence chasing this girl's validation, just wanting to be something for her and never feeling like I was enough. I never feeling like I was that person that she wanted me to be, that guy she wanted me to be, even though in so many ways I was, but I wasn't. And it was just doomed. Even though I maybe could have done better in some ways, it was just not the right person. It was not the right relationship. And I remember after that, I was in school. I was studying pure and applied mathematics at the time, doing some really, really advanced, difficult math classes. And for any of you guys who've studied engineering or STEM and anything, or just really studied anything hard, gone to a tough school or anything like that, you know that you need all of your mental resources to do something that difficult. You need all your mental resources to be there. You need to be sharp. You need to be able to think. And I couldn't. And I was fucking up in school. And, I have this amazing talent for math. But I just couldn't even do it. I couldn't even function because all I could think about was how I just lost my confidence. All I could think about was how I wasn't enough. And it just totally messed me up. And it was ruining all of these other areas of my life. And I remember at one point, I just forked out. I didn't even really have the money, but I just knew this guy that you and I both know, Limo, who's also kind of a toxic guy, but also very talented and smart. And I just paid him. I'm like, man, teach me. I need to learn. I need to get this handled. I can't half-ass this anymore. I have to get serious. And I remember I paid him and we started working together. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I went to his house. We were talking on the phone a lot. We were texting a lot. And I remember the first week, I went out to a club and I was terrified. I went out to a club alone. I was terrified. I still hadn't gotten over approach anxiety and everything. And I remember going out and I meeting these two French girls. And similar to our client, I actually went home with both of them at the same time. And we had this incredible night together,
Really?
the three of us.
Crazy.
Really, yeah. The first week after coaching, actually, I crushed it. It was one of the best nights ever. And I remember I'd actually gotten laid a couple times before then, since my breakup. But that was the one that really, really set me on the rampage that ensued over that next year. And I just gained so much confidence back. And I remember this one time I met her out on the classic strip on Saint Laurent. And I met her on there and she was chasing me. And she was like, oh, I hear you're on this rampage. And I remember she was chasing me. And we actually went home that night together, but we didn't get back together. But it was just like, I remember that it's not that I wanted to get back together with her. It was probably a bad thing that we went home that night, but still, I just remember that time and those couple of months where I really got this stuff handled, and I just got my confidence back. And I remember feeling just completely emotionally overwhelmed at one point, and realizing that I'd really got my confidence back and I'd truly gotten over her, but I couldn't have gotten over her with some fucking meditation or journaling session or anything like that. I had to get over her by action and by going out into the world and succeeding and going through the process that I needed to. Otherwise, it's just cope. So many people are doing journals and all this stuff and special meditations. That stuff can help, but you need to go out into the world and hope and truly do this, because otherwise it's just a cope. It's not the real development that you need to make. You can't get fit in the gym by imagining it. You have to lift the weight. It's the same thing. So that was kind of a long story, but that was something that was very, very transformational for me.
No, I can really resonate with that too. I mean, I think we both had kind of a similar story in that sense. I mean, I think a lot of guys can relate to that. We all had like some sort of breakup or bad experience with women that truly compelled us to learn more about this and get good at this. I think, I've talked with a lot of other coaches for men or a lot of guys who are really good with women. And the reason why they got so good is because in the past they had some kind of foible or some kind of problem that they needed to solve in this area. Very, very few guys are naturals. I don't believe the best guys who are really good at this, they're not naturals.
I agree.
You're not gonna, I mean, nobody is born a seducer. You have to really learn how to seduce it. It's a skill. It's 100% a skill. Now you can be born good looking, okay, but charisma and all of that, this is something you learn. So that's one thing.
Just a quick thing I want to say about that is the people that kind of are naturals, like a coach, my personal mentor is not a natural, but he's reached the very highest levels. And his children, actually, he's raised them to be naturals. But what he said about that is that they can at best be like an 8 out of 10 at this, maybe like an 8.5, because the average guy, say you start out at like a 5, but because you're like a 4 or 5, you can push to like a 9 or a 10, and you're going to be motivated to do so. But the person that's just born basically at like an 8 out of 10, why would he ever be motivated to push it to a 9 or a 10? Most of those people are never motivated. So it's actually a blessing in a way. I thought it would have been cooler if I was like, man, what if I was just born and, I was 6'4" and I was like supermodel genetics and I was born like super rich and all this. No, it's actually a blessing to have those negative experiences and then grow through them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 100%. What would you say to guys? Like, what's the best way for guys to get over a breakup while we're on the same topic?
Yeah, so this is so important, but I would take a moment. You need space. So the first thing you got to do is you need space from the woman you broke up with. And that might mean either losing or distancing yourself from some friends. And I've done this. I did that with that situation. Sometimes, especially if it's like a marriage situation, you're not just breaking up with one person, you're breaking up with 5 or 10 plus people. And that's crazy. Sometimes you can lose an entire social circle when you go through a breakup, or entire businesses and so on. But in this case, for me, it was a social circle, and I don't talk to anyone from that social circle anymore. And they were good friends of mine, and I miss them. I miss all of them. So distance yourself, as painful as it may be. Distance yourself from her. Distance yourself from people who are close to her, if you can, as much as you can. Be fucking disciplined. Don't look at her Instagram. Don't text her, I miss you. Don't do a midnight hookup. Don't do any of that. Treat yourself better than that. This is masochistic behavior. So distance yourself, and then you gotta take an audit of what you really want, who you are, what you want, and who would be a good partner for your life. And then from there, so take a few days, take a week, take 2 weeks, take a month. I'm not saying take a month off work or anything, but just take a month where you're thinking about this more in depth and just touch base with yourself. Do everything you can to be mentally stable. Hit the gym, meditate, clear your mind, get rid of distracting stuff. Don't be watching porn like we're talking about. Don't be overly indulging in stuff like that. Don't be overly indulging in movies and TV and numbing yourself. And certainly don't be drinking a ton of alcohol or doing drugs or anything like that. You need mental clarity, and you need to process the pain and distance yourself from that person and allow the grieving process to happen. And then when I think it's actually okay, I think it's actually great to have maybe a week or two at least, maybe even a month, where you're kind of actually doing nothing, not doing nothing, but you're not dating. But after 2 weeks or so of getting your shit together. Get back in the gym if you stopped with the gym. Get your money up in your business. Figure out who you are and what you want and who you want to be with. And within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, get the fuck out there and start approaching. Get a wingman. Go to certain clubs. Join social clubs. Go to language exchanges. Go to cocktail parties, wine and cheese, whatever is in line with your lifestyle and what you want to do. And get back on the horse, man, and just start dating. Start dating like we talk about. That's really it. But that process, that couple weeks process is so important. It's so precious. If you don't go through that, you're just going to perpetuate it, and you're going to be on and off with a toxic girl or a girl who's at least not right for you. And you're going to be hurting yourself. And the consequences, the cost over time could be massive if you don't do this.
Yeah, and don't go back to your ex because you lack options. A lot of guys do that. They try to rechase their ex because they don't have options and they can't just sit with themselves. So really, you have to just cut it off with her and make a clear decision that you are going to become that guy who has options. And really getting back with your girlfriend is like picking up your trash from that you throw, like let's say you throw some trash in the garbage can. It's like you're taking it back and putting it back to your life, basically, instead of just getting rid of the trash. So get rid of the trash. Don't take back the trash that you threw away, and get some new girls. That's it. Abundance is always the answer, guys. You gotta cultivate some abundance. Yeah.
And if you are gonna get back with your ex, it's gotta be after certainly a decent length of time. 6 months, like minimum. It should honestly be like a year. But at that point, you guys are kind of new people. So it's like you're getting together with a new person. If it's after like 2 or 3 weeks or a month or 2 months, it's like picking up your old trash. Agreed. So if you could go back in time and give your younger self one piece of dating advice, what would it be?
It's a tough question. I mean, there are so many things I would have done differently. But I think, the main thing is you have to be willing to leave your ego out of the door and take the necessary action even if it's uncomfortable. But basically, when I was younger, I was just so stuck in my head, fearing what people would say or fearing how people would judge me. Action is really the name of the game, and I would have taken action much, much sooner. There's a lot of times in my life where I've delayed my success because I was afraid of how people would judge me. I was the only one of my friends who was truly interested in learning this. My social circle wasn't that interested at all in learning all these skills. For them, it was weird. Like when I was showing my friends the videos that I was watching about how to improve my dating life, or when I was showing my friends the books that I was reading about dating, about seduction, etc., they thought I was a weirdo. They thought they couldn't resonate with that. They couldn't resonate with the fact that I wanted to improve this area. They thought it was just some cheap gimmick, or they thought it was just straight up weird. And so really finding also wingmen that are aligned with that. For example, one of my buddies, Max, back in the day, was a great wingman of mine. You know him, Chris. We shot a lot of videos together. We learned a lot of things together. We started this whole business together back in the day too, at some point. And really finding guys like that, or like yourself also, you've helped me a lot in my journey. I've learned a ton from you. And we went out multiple times. Just finding guys who are aligned with the actions and goals you have is also a game changer. If I had to go back in time, I would definitely cut out some of the guys that I was hanging out with, and I would have chosen to hang out more with the right guys. You have to get yourself in the room with the right guys. That's why joining a mastermind group or joining some sort of just like a community is going to help you tremendously, especially in this area. Nobody succeeds alone. Like you need to have other wingmen, other guys that are pushing you to learn this and that are going to give you feedback as well. Feedback is key. So definitely, if I had to go back in time, I would have taken action much sooner. I would have surrounded myself by better guys who had better mindsets towards this. Because a lot of my friends were holding me back. I wasted so much time smoking weed, getting drunk, doing some bullshit instead of learning this. So yeah, and it was fun. I mean, I don't regret having fun. You know, it was fun. I had a great time smoking weed and stuff sometimes, but it's just that a lot of times also, I think I was just doing that by default because I didn't have really a group of guys to go out with or to do the stuff that would move the needle with. So anyways, I'd say all of these things, if I had to go back in time and learn from the right mentors earlier and invest in myself much, much earlier. You know, I grew up a bit tight-fisted, to be honest. Like, I grew up a bit not wanting to invest too much money, believing that courses were a scam, that this whole industry was a scam. I grew up believing that, you know, just paying people on the internet like that was a scam. And yeah, and that really prevented me to invest in myself the right way. So I think definitely I would have invested in myself much sooner. What about you?
It's such a joke to me at this. It's such a. I would look, man. I was exactly the same, and it's such a joke to me at this point that people are like more willing to spend like all this money on Netflix, like a table at the club, and all this alcohol, expensive dinners, a Gucci belt, the new Jordans, and all this stuff, and they're just like pouring like TikTok garbage reels and watching all this stupid stuff, consuming drugs and alcohol and all this stupid stuff. Yet they think giving some money, like paying an expert to take them through a program and transform their life and give them the best strategies and accountability is a scam. It's like crazy. Such a fucking joke to me at this point. I used to think that, and I was doing all that same stuff. I really was like that. Like I'm just so stupid. And I don't even say that with any hate at this point. I'm not butthurt at the people that are like that because I was just like that. It's just not the right strategy. If you're not around the right people, you're not learning not only from the right resources, but you're not in situations that are pushing you to be accountable to taking action on those best informational and educational resources. Man, you're really messing up if you're not doing that. So that's, man, I 100% agree with you, is getting around the right people.
Yeah. If you don't adapt to the current pace of how the world is going, with social media, for example, like if you're not actively building your personal brand right now, as we're speaking, like you are getting outpaced by the guys who do. And the guys who are now putting the work in their dating lives are going to be fucking the girls you want, are going to be putting their kids in the best schools while you put your kids in some public school where they get conditioned by trans teachers. And
You're so right, man.
And you're going to be marrying some dumb wife with whom you're going to have some dumb kids with. And you're just gonna be living in hell, looking at social media to guys who have dared to take the actions that you've procrastinated on. And because they dared to take those actions while you were procrastinating, now they're living the life you want. And now you can't even live that life anymore because you have so much resentment and guilt and fear that have accumulated over the years that you couldn't even allow yourself to take action anymore because like you've just been stuck for so long. So yeah, you need to switch right now. Otherwise you're gonna keep being in this downward spiral. You're gonna see the guys succeeding, you're gonna see your friends succeeding, you're gonna see people succeeding on social media, traveling the world, fucking the girls you want, building amazing businesses, while you stay there jerking off with average girls, getting married to some average dumb bitch who's gonna take your money and suck out your soul and give you some dumb kids that you're gonna put in some trashy schools. So that's what's gonna happen. So take the right actions
100%, bro.
or you're going to live in hell.
So if you don't want to live in that reality that Limo's describing, you want to stop wasting time, then go below to the description or the pinned comment and book a call with Limo, myself, or a member of our team, and hit the calendar to see if you qualify for a free personalized strategy session where we make a personal plan for your dating life and will get you to the next level.
Yeah, guys, go to the pinned comment or to the description. We're offering calls every single week where you can talk to our team. Those calls are offered by us. You don't need to pay anything. You can just come on the call. We can talk about your situation, talk about your goals, and then we can map out a game plan to really crush it. And then obviously, if there's a fitment, if you're truly serious about getting there and you want our help to implement those strategies, then definitely you can invest in yourself and potentially get the chance to work with us on a more personalized basis. But those calls are offered, so you can come on the calls, you can benefit from our advice, and this is your time to really get some powerful insights to kick off the year strong and crush the rest of the year.
But the calendar for this week is filling up, so get in there now.